The suit had belonged to my sister 3 years earlier, back when she was interviewing for graduate programs, and my parents still described spending money on her as an investment. My mother laid it across the dining chair the night before my interview without looking at me. "It's still good," she said, "you just need to iron it." The sleeves hung over the edge like empty arms. "It doesn't fit me." "It covers you, doesn't it?" My father didn't even lift his eyes from his phone. "You're lucky you have anything at all. Some people walk into interviews with nothing." I remember standing there longer than necessary, waiting for someone to soften the sentence. Nobody did. Then my mother added the part that stayed with me. "You don't deserve new things every time life gets difficult." Not angry, not loud, just decided. By midnight I had folded the cuffs inward and pinned the waist from the inside with 3 safety pins I found in a sewing tin. When I tried sitting down, one pin opened and scratched my side. I left it there anyway. The company tower downtown had mirrored glass so clean it reflected the clouds better than the sky itself. I checked my sleeves 3 times before walking in. Every movement felt wrong. The pants were too loose at the hips and too short at the ankles. The shoulders widened my frame awkwardly. I could feel people noticing, then politely pretending not to. That was always the worst part growing up in my house. Not the insults, the adjustment afterward. The way everyone learned to act normal around something humiliating. At reception, the woman handing out visitor badges glanced at my suit, then quickly back to her computer. 12th floor. I thanked her too quickly. The elevator ride was silent except for soft music and the sound of my sleeve brushing against itself whenever I moved. 2 other candidates stood beside me in tailored navy suits that actually belonged to them. One of them smiled at me kindly, which somehow made me feel worse. The conference room overlooked the city. Glass walls, long walnut table, water pitchers untouched. I chose the chair nearest to the corner so less of me would be visible. I kept my portfolio on my lap to hide the waistline where the fabric bunched unnaturally around the pins. 1-1, candidates were called into interviews. Some came back confident, others came back pale. I remember staring at my reflection in the dark window beside me and thinking how tired I looked for 24, not sad, just worn down in specific places. The door opened again, but instead of another recruiter, a woman I recognized immediately walked in, Alina Vale, founder, CEO. The kind of person whose interviews became business school case studies online. Everyone in the room straightened automatically. She greeted the recruiters first, then glanced around at the remaining candidates. Her eyes stopped on me. Not briefly, stopped. I looked away first. She continued toward the far side of the table, then paused halfway there. "You," she said gently. I thought I'd broken some rule already. "Yes?" She looked at the shoulders of the suit, the folded cuffs, the uneven line near my waist where one side sat higher than the other. Then she asked something nobody had asked me before. "Did someone make you wear that?" The room went still. I felt heat crawl up my neck instantly. "It's fine," I said. "I just know," she interrupted quietly. "I know what that looks like." Not pity, recognition. Before I could answer, she slipped off her charcoal blazer and walked over to me. "Here," she said. "I can't take that. You can borrow it." Every recruiter at the table was watching now, so were the other candidates. I wanted the floor to split open, but Elena held the blazer out like this was the most ordinary thing in the world, and somehow that made refusing impossible. "It'll fit better," she said. My hands shook slightly as I put it on. Perfect at the shoulders. The room changed after that. Not dramatically. Nobody applauded. Nobody gave inspirational speeches, but the imbalance disappeared. For the first time that morning, people looked directly at my face instead of scanning my clothes first. When my interview began, Elena stayed. The questions were difficult, precise, sometimes exhausting. market analysis, risk assessment, leadership failures, ethical blind spots. But halfway through, she asked something unexpected. What do you do when people decide who you are before you speak? I knew better than to answer emotionally. You learn to become useful before you become visible, I said. Something flickered across her expression then. Not approval exactly, something heavier. After the interview ended, the recruiters thanked me politely and said they'd be in touch. I stood to leave. Alina stopped me near the door. Your portfolio, she said. I looked down. One of the safety pins had slipped loose beneath the fabric. She had noticed, of course she had. Without embarrassing me, she reached over and straightened the edge of the folder covering my calm waist and quietly, none of this is your shame. I couldn't answer. I nodded once and walked out before my face betrayed me. 3 days later, I got the offer. Not an internship, not probationary placement, a full analyst position. My mother cried when she heard the salary. My father suddenly began introducing me to relatives as our hard-working child. It should have felt satisfying, instead it felt clinical. Like watching actors discover a script revision halfway through filming. A week after I started, a package arrived at my desk. Inside was a new blazer, dark gray, tailored. No note except one sentence tucked into the pocket. We're your own size now. I sat there for a long time holding it. Not because of the gift, because it was the first time someone had corrected the humiliation instead of explaining why I deserved it.